We're going to start off talking about the Indy 500. So we welcome in Steve Letarte, NBC's own, ahead of the big race on Sunday. Steve, thanks for being with us. What are your biggest observations so far at the Brickyard?
Well, first of all, it's the 107th running for the Indy 500, the biggest sporting event on the globe. I mean, there'll be 325,000 fans here. If you can imagine it, it turns into one of the bigger cities in the country for a single day. And for that reason, I think betting it is a blast. It reminds me a little of the Kentucky Derby, right? You're going to have a lot of casual eyes on it, a lot of casual viewers, and it's a star-studded international lineup. And I think that's really the key. The key is I believe it's the hardest race to win in the world. And for that reason, betting it is very difficult. Alex Palou set a new 4-lap. Think about this, 4 laps average of over 234 miles an hour. So the speeds are high. He's coming in as the favorite at about 6-1. I'm okay with that because I think he's good enough to do it. Pato Award is a Mexican driver driving for Arrows McLaren, tons of speed, young, flashy. I like it. I don't like it at 7-1. Dixon, I think, is the value on the board at 8-1. He's the best car here every year. He's found every way to lose it, full of heartbreak. And Drew, as you and I both know, right, you got to just keep firing the favorite. Eventually, the guy that's the better team has to win, right? Isn't that the case? The better team has to win at some point.
So is that your general process for the Indy 500? Because every race is unique, right? Sometimes it's literally like pole position is all that matters. Sometimes it's if you have the best car. Sometimes it's like if you're a driver that can handle this particular type of course, you have the advantage. Like what is your general kind of process when it comes to Indy? Is it literally just best car? Let's go fire.
Best car, and actually I look for some 10 to 20-1 numbers just because it is the hardest race in the world to win. It's a 500-mile race. IndyCar doesn't get a lot of 500-mile races. So you talk about qualifying, say Formula One, Monaco, that'll start the day off on Sunday. And the pole winner is going to be minus money to win, if you can imagine it, right? There's just very few overtakes in that. This will be anything but that. There's so many ways to lose it. And for that reason, I think there's some interesting value down the board. Takuma Sato, he's a one-off really, driving the same equipment as Ericsson, last year's winner, and Dixon. So I think he's going to be one of the guys to watch. And if you want to bet with your true heart, Tony Kanaan, he's the fan favorite. He's going to get the biggest cheer. He has a tremendous amount of experience here. He's also in a McLaren that I think can win. So it isn't just a NBC storyline of the big star going out. This is a big star sitting and winning equipment. I think you can shop him around at like 18 or 20 to 22-1. So I think you want to have a little piece on that just because it's a great storyline, and you hate to think you missed it completely, right? You want to be cheering with the rest of the fans.
Indeed. No, I like that. Marcus Ericsson, he was 15-1 last year, and he got it done, and now he's plus 850 this time around. What do you think of his chances to repeat, Steve?
He's the sneaky Swede, very quiet, doesn't say very much. He was off the radar last year. Unfortunately, he's on the radar this year. It makes it harder. People know you're here. The pressure's here. I think he feels the enormity of the event. The pageantry of the Indianapolis 500 is one of the most spectacular things on Memorial Day weekend. But think about as a competitor, those 30 minutes, you realize you're in the biggest race in the world. And last year he was in it. This year he's the defending winner. For that reason, I have a little bit of concern. And it's just because the odds. If we're on here talking betting. Do I think he could win? Yes. Do I like him at 8.5? No. I need Marcus Ericsson at 12, 13, 14-ish. That's the problem I have with Palou at 6. I need Palou at 8-10 to see some value there. That's why I think the best value on the board is Dixon at 8-1, just because I think in my mind he's the favorite, and the books disagree. Sometimes when that happens, that's your best bet.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Ericsson, of course, he won the first race of the season. Impressive running, very different course. Came out in the next week and was, I thought, pretty disappointing at the Texas Speedway, which is a more kind of similar type of racing course to what we're expecting here in Indy. So I agree with you. 850, not a bet. But let's kind of go back to the current favorite here, Alex Palou. Plus 600 is, that's a lot for the toughest race in sports, as you've kind of laid out pretty clearly here. What is it going to take for him ultimately to justify this price? And do you think realistically that, this is a setup for fade the favorite?
This is a fade the favorite for me. It always is. you know, what makes great sporting events is heartbreak, and heartbreak usually happens when the favorite can't perform. And that's what I see here. I think Alex Palou, he's a champion in this field. You know, he knows what he's doing, but he's deserving of the odds because of his pace. You know, when a Honda filled Fast 6 a week ago, he outran them. Excuse me, in a Chevrolet field, he outran them in a Honda, which you're like, oh man, this guy's going to be the best. But you know, 2.5 hours, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. What I think is very interesting is Team Penske isn't really represented in the top 5 or 6 favorite drivers. And while they haven't shown the speed, Drew, you know, where Alex can trip up, can be on and off pit road, pit stop, so much goes into it. That's where Team Penske kind of exceeds, right? That's where they exceed expectation. They're just so efficient. You're going to look at 5 or 6, 7 pit stops. You know, it's so difficult to win this race. That reason, yeah, I'm fade the favorite. The highest ranked driver I would have would be Scott Dixon in my betting sheet. I just can't see Palou or Pato. Not for those odds. Look, the book know what they're doing.
If
right?
I'm singling,
at the front.
So if I'm singling an IndyCar driver with a Coca-Cola 600 driver, Dixon's the guy.
I would. It would be me. It would be Scott Dixon, Kyle Larson. Put them together. Try to get some multiplier odds. I found another bet out there that you got to have to get like 25 or 30 to 1 on that. But a Penske driver winning either location is an interesting one because I don't think they're favorites either. That doesn't mean they can't win. But it's an exciting time for racing for sure.
Yeah. Last one for you, Steve. In terms of live betting the race, which is becoming more of an element of betting, obviously, across the board and also for the Indy 500, is there anything that you would look out for in terms of someone you expect might, you know, start slow and then come home with a head of steam after their odds drift a little? Or how do you think the race might ebb and flow?
You know, so Jay, we talk about this a lot each week on Dirty Modo, another podcast I'm on weekly. And the live bet has become a really interesting move for the racing fan. And my theory is, you know, a good racing ticket each week has 5, 6, 7 winners usually on your ticket. And I tell everybody, if you can get even money on your money, take your live bet and run. Because you normally, over the course of a 3-hour event, you're going to get even money on 2 or 3 of your drivers, and that kind of make your whole day. So to your point about Palou as the favorite starting up front, I don't think his live money is going to help much because he's starting up front. But when you talk about those Penske drivers, I think you can get them at pretty long odds because of where they're starting. Okay. And then if they have a good first, say 200 miles and cycle towards the front, you're going to have a great live bet buyout option to get out. And I think that's the key. I actually, Drew, to your point about Palou, if I was going to take Palou, I would sit on my hands and wait for the live bet because there's going to be at some point where he's not in the front 5. And I bet you're going to get it longer than 6 to 1. I bet you're going to get a 10 to 1 on Alex Palou at some point in 500 miles. So, Jay, that's a complicated answer, but the simple fact is anybody starting outside the top 9, I would look for a buyout because if they have a good first couple 100 miles, you can just get even money on your bet and get out of Dodge.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I will say as well that, you know, as someone who used to work on trading these types of live events, sometimes books are slow in adjusting and drifting guys. You're much more focused on shortening guys who are making a run, and potentially, you know, you let the guys, you let them sit at 7 to 1 when, you know, they should be pushed out to 10 to 1, 12 to 1, and there's an opportunity to cash out if you're paying attention. Steve, thanks so much for your time. Can you let people know how you're involved with the coverage of the Indy 500 and also any other content that you're working on?
Well, listen, it's a big weekend of racing. Indy 500 starts at Peacock at 9 a.m. We have a big 2-hour pre-race show from 9 to 11. Myself, Dale Jr., Danica Patrick, Mike Tirico, and our normal IndyCar gang of Hinchcliffe, Bell, and Diffie. Then we switch over to NBC. I get all the fun stuff. I get all the pre-race. When they take the green flag, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to find a sweet and a beer, and I'm going to cheer my friends on as they cover the Indy 500. I get to be a fan this year, which I'm excited about. It's the greatest day in racing, all Sunday. From Formula One to Indy to NASCAR, it's a great time. And every week you could turn in Dirty Modo. You can get that where I get all your gambling podcasts. Myself and a couple of my buddies talk NASCAR lines each and every week. Drew, Jay, we're going to have you on there. You can help us sharpen our pencils a little bit. There's so many NASCAR bets each week. The books are growing. It's been a lot of fun to talk about.
Absolutely love it. And everyone can follow Steve on Twitter at Steve Letarte. Good luck with the coverage, Steve, with the suite and with the beer. Look forward to speaking to you soon, mate.
Great. Thanks, guys.